Hi there, Pam Clarke here. Today I'm going to share with you how to blend vintage blocks into making a modern quilt top. This is a great opportunity for you to practice your free motion quilting. I'm going to be using the Designs with line stencils, all these different sizes, which are available through Linda's Electric Quilters. And you just need some old blocks, or if you don't have old blocks, you can also use some unfinished orphan or some finished orphan blocks. This is a great way to practice. So I have right here is what I did a panel like this, and what I'm going to do, you're going to maybe a ruler, the line stencils, a washable marker. It could be the Mark Be Gone, like this blue one right here, or these are from the dollar store, but they have to say washable Crayola markers. All right, and even though I'm suggesting it, I would recommend that you test it first on your fabric, then wash it, and then make sure that it's going to wash out. I have not had any issues with it, and you'll see because I'm going to draw all over this piece of white fabric, and then I'm going to quilt it, and then I'm going to go wash it and block it. So let me go ahead and get started. I think you're going to find this is going to be a fun project for you to do. And remember, it's always best to practice with a purpose, and that's what we're going to be doing today. All right. As you can see, I've already drawn up on my sample, and I'm using the washable markers that I told you that I use from the dollar store. And the thing of it is, once I started drawing this up, I realized that I'm going to use the lines and stuff, but I also put some curves in it. All right, and you won't be able to use the line stencils. Well, you maybe be able to use the line stencils in the curves, but that's a really good opportunity, like for in here, like right in here, in this area, and in here, to do some free motion quilting. And also I would recommend that you get some of my sketchbooks. I have one that's the it's all on background quilting, and then there's the Designs with Lines 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then there's the borderline stencil borderline book, and it has 1, 2 and 3. So those will really help you to kind of get a good idea. Now if you can see, I just kind of randomly drew everything out there. So now what I'm going to do is, I did use my ruler, for the lines like this. And then I'm going to take and put the line stencils down, and I'm going to be using the blue pounce pad. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that, and I'll try to show you how to mark it as I'm doing it. Now I'm getting ready to mark my lines with the blue pounce pad, and this is what the blue pounce pad looks like. I have the cover off it. But if you get a new one, you want to make sure that you open up this plug in the back, put the chalk in there, and then I put this into a plastic bag and I hid it until all the chalk is in here. And you would want to do that with the white one or the pink one. And then I'm going to chalk this heavy for the camera. I normally would not chalk it this heavy, but I want you to be able to see how to use it. And you can see those in all my other tutorials I've done. It shows you I go through the whole thing with this. And this washes out. So let me show you how to mark it. I put the stencil down right here, and I have the rough side up, and the rough side up is the one with the label towards your quilt. So lay that down and line it up. Hopefully I'll keep my fingers out or my hands out of the way. So I'm going to take it, and what I like to do is I actually like to take it and pat it like this, and then I'm going to scrub across this so I get my lines. And I'm just going to scrub all the way across it like that. And I'm going to only be using the lines in, like for borders and stuff, in these areas. In areas like this, well, I could probably use it in something like that, but I'll probably just do some free motion quilting in there. And the same thing on some of my applique pieces. And I didn't talk to you a little bit about how to apply your blocks or your vintage or your orphan blocks to your panel. I just use fusible bonding, whatever your favorite one is, and then I just take it to my home sewing machine and I do a blanket stitch around here. If you're going to take, you can also do it on your long arm, but you really want to make sure that you stitch that down really, really well. So let me do this one more time. I think I can do it up here. There. I'm going to lay it down. I've got my lines right there. And this is the 1-inch line stencil. And you can use whatever size. And it doesn't have to be as tight as I've done this one. And just go ahead and see how I'm just kind of scratching it across there. I'm rubbing it across that stencil. And then even though I'm still a little short here, I'm not sure that's in the camera, but I'm going to put that up there like that. And I did allow for room on the outside edges in here and in here. So when I go to load it, I'll have some room to trim it up. These are the 3 books or sketchbooks that I would recommend that you pick up so you get some ideas. This was for backgrounds, right? This is the Basic 8 Designs with Lines, book 1 and 2, but there's also a 3 and 4 that would work great. And then the border lines. And that's really what these lines go to. There's over 75 ways to use this those lines for your borders. So you never have to worry about using a pre-cut stencil except for the lines. All right, and then you're going to evenly space everything out. And if you notice, I've got everything is all marked on my quilt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing some of the designs in for you. All right, and I would recommend that when you do this is to go ahead and draw some of this in before you load it. That will give you a good idea what kind of a design you want to put in there. So let me go ahead and get started, and I'm going to try to angle the camera so that my hand's not in the way. Okay, so the first part I'm going to work on is going to be right in here. I did mark some lines in there, but after a while you won't have to in these curves. I do make sure I do them in here. And this is just going to be a simple swirl. And since it's a curvy one like this, they're all going to be different sizes. And I'm going to use a different color marker. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here like this, like that, up on this line to here. And the one thing I didn't tell you is that once I load this, I'm actually going to stitch all of these lines in. And that will give you, some guidelines where you need to put your quilting. If you just kind of just free wing it, it's not going to look as good. So that one's that one, all right? And then I'm going to just kind of leave this out so I have a little wiggle room so when I go to trim this down. And this one, I can do the double 8s or the double loops, and it looks like this. I'm going to come down here like this. I start in the middle, go to this one, here. And you notice I just went right on top of my applique. And you can draw the whole thing in if you want to, that way. And then I'm going to come back. I can work in both directions, but as a newbie, I would recommend you come back to the left side so that you can work from your right side, from your left to your right. So this one's going to come down like this now. Come in here to this one. And these are in the borderline book. That, and maybe even put another little loop right there. All right, now this one right here, I am going to do clamshells. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to go like a clamshell here, and then up to this one, and then I'm going to come back. Come back here, actually this has to come here. And this one's going to come back up like this, to here, up, that one, up, and here, up, and all the way up. And this one I would probably just do some sort of, stippling or something in here, just some background quilting. And in this one, in this Grandma's Flower Garden in here, since I didn't mark inside of this, I would go ahead and do like continuous curve. It looks like this. And I'm sure some of you are saying like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's writing on that quilt. I'll tell you what, it does come out, because when I'm done with this, I'm going to wash it after I've quilted it. All right. And put the binding on. I'm going to put it in my wash machine and I'm going to wash it with just regular, I like to use Dawn soap. All right. and then I'm going to block it. And this, I'm not going to do the whole thing. So this is continuous curve around here. Like that. All right. This one we could do touching hearts. And like I said, all of these are in your are in the borderline books and the background designs and stuff. This one is going to go like this. You start with with an S or a question mark. It comes up like this. Here. Up to this one. And I'm sure I've shown this in some of the other videos, the tutorials that I've already done. Here. And I just go like that. All right, so you kind of get an idea what I'm doing. So this one is a variation of the clamshell. And you're going to go every other one. You're going to start here, go this way, here, here. And then when I get to this one, I'm actually going to come up a little bit in here, kind of stitch in the ditch a little bit. And then I'm going to come to the center, like this one, here, to that one, and that one up. And then I'm going to come back this way like this to get this loop. And then you can just do another loop in here. All right. Now, you can also do a little cross hatching. And it looks like this. And I don't use my ruler because it's small enough that you can get away with this. So you come up here. Again, we're going to outline all of these. So you'll have some sort of perimeter to get it so that you're not going to go outside of it. So all the lines will be stitched first. Then you're going to go like this to this one, to here. And then when you get down to the end, you're going to come back. Or, like I said, if you're not comfortable working from right to left, then go back to your left side and come over here and do this one like this. Like that. And this one in here, these can be really easy for loops. And what I do is I just go like this. You can even do a double loop like this one. Okay. And then this one up here, we can do, let's do the double eights again, because it's one of my favorite ones to do. And it's easier to do it like with this one. And we're going to go like this. We're going to go like that again. And this might be a good opportunity for you to work from right to left. So you'd have to remember that it's going to be reversed because it's easy to get it confused. So we're going to come down like this. Up on that line, here and there. All right. Another sketchbook that I would really recommend is the Straight Line sketchbook. And this is the one, I took this out of the book, and this is really for beginners. But it's great for so many places to use it. So this is the design, all right? And what you're going to find, I'm not going to drop everything on this sample because I'm going to repeat quite a few of the things because you do want to kind of repeat it a little bit. You don't want to do like 100 different things on this. You want to have some sort of symmetrical balance to it. So anyways, so let me do this one. This is on page 15. And what it is, you go every other one. Like this, actually go here and up. And I'm going to do one right here for you. So I'm going to come up like this to that line. And then I'm going to come up, put the cleavage part right on that straight line or the chalk line, up to here and back down. So let me do one more for you. So here. And I'm not too concerned. When I quilt so much better than I can draw. So you do want to try to keep them even. Up to here, all the way to that line, back down, and to there. In this section right here, I'm going to do this one. It's called Basketweave. All right. But when you go to quilt this, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you actually stitch out these lines. All right. It's just going to give it some sort of balance to it. I've seen it done without it, but it really looks so much better with it. So you're really going to stitch out the lines, and you won't need to use your ruler. You stitch out your line here, here, up. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're just going to do, I call it candy ribbon. So let's go with the candy ribbon this way first, okay, like this. And then I want to take it, I'm going to go back down to here. And I'm going to come this way. And then this one, actually, there's another line right there. Okay, so then this one here, I would actually come down here like this. Because remember, we're going to have these lines are going to be stitched in. So it's every other one. You're going to go the opposite way. All right, let me go back down this way. Put this up here. So this one's going to come down this way. Up to here. And that's in the borderline, on the background book on page 26. This quilts up just really, 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 really nice. And I can come in here. Remember, again, we're going to be stitching all of that. Everything's going to be outlined. All right, in this section right here, I am going to outline, just like I told you to do with the basket weave. I'm going to outline all of that, and then I'm going to do continuous curve. So continuous curve can be done in several different ways, and then there's lots of different tutorials out on it. But this is the way I taught myself how to do it. All right, so what it is, I'll start right here in the middle. You're going to go from here, you're going to do an arc or a clamshell or whatever, and then you're going to come down to this one, and then up to here. And remember, I'm going to have those all marked out. To here, stitched out. Down to this one, up, and I'll just take it to this one. Then I'm going to work my way back like this. The trick with doing continuous curve is to make sure that you don't close it up yet. All right, because we want to do this all in one motion with one stop. I'm going to come to here. And another trick that really helps, don't look at your needle when you're stitching. I want you to look, so you come up to here and hesitate, stitch, then hesitate in that corner, back up, just the way I'm drawing it. Down to here, hesitate, and just look ahead when you're driving your machine. And this can be done on your home machine too. If some of you are out there watching this tutorial for doing free motion quilting on your domestic machine, same rules apply. You're just going to be pushing your fabric instead of having the machine going over the top of it. That one, up. I would finish all of that, but I just want you to get an idea all the way up to there, and then I could even continue all the way up to the top up there. What I forgot to mention, when I did the continuous curve right there, I marked with the 1-inch line stencil. I went vertical and horizontal with it. So the next thing I want to share with you is, it's going to be a little bit like the continuous curve, but I call these my lazy hearts. And it looks great in a 9-patch, in a 1-patch. I'll show you even a couple different ways on doing different, adding different little designs into it. But first I'm going to do the easy one first. And again, I do stitch out all of the lines. All right. Now I do use the 1.5-inch lines on this one. You could do it in the 1-inch lines, but this one has a little bit more, it's a little larger design. And so first I did the vertical and then the horizontal, or it doesn't matter which way you do it. So the thing you're going to do, you want to think of it as a heart shape laying on its side. So I'm going to see if this is in the camera. So if I have a box right here like this, straight one obviously. So I want you to think of it like a heart shape. You're going to go full and then skinny. So think about a heart laying on its side. And that's what I'm going to do in here. So I'm going to take it after I've already stitched these lines in, and I'm going to say full skinny is what I call it. Full and then skinny, and then full skinny, skinny. We're going to do it the same way as the continuous curve, except I worked in a 9-patch on the continuous curve. This one, so it doesn't matter. It could be 16 squares, all right? But what you want to do is got the full skinny, full skinny, full skinny, full skinny. There, back, 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 and back. All right. So if you want to add another texture to it, all right? But you have to do it as you're going. You can't do it after, you'd have to stop and go at every single one to do this one. So this one would go, you're gonna do the full and then skinny. But before I go to the next one, I'm gonna come in here and do like a little swirl like that. And then to this one, and then a little swirl up to here, a little swirl. See, so you wouldn't be able to do it after you've done this one, okay, just the plain lazy heart ones. Then this one comes like here, and I'm just going to do the two, like that, back to here, and then to this one, and then I'm just going to close it up. But if you wanted more, you would continue down this way. So you continue here and back if you want to do all of that. Another thing I want to talk to you about is when I was doing the double loops, because it is one of my favorite things to do, I didn't really talk about, you know, we have the lines here and you start in the middle. I told you that. But what you want to do is you're going to take it, and I'll do this one a little bit different, but you want to start in the middle and you want to go in the empty part of the lines in the space, okay, where there's no lines. And then you want to be on that line and loop around. Then I'm in the empty and then on the line. And I'm sure I've talked about this in some of my other tutorials. To here, on the line, I'm sure you can see that. This one's got to go up here. Okay, then I'm going to come back here. I'm going to pretend like it's all done. And this one, I'm just going to do little ones. I'm going to do halfway. I'm going to come in like this. Like that. Here. One. There. So I went over swirls with you, but in my, oh gosh, in my lines book, the 1, 2, and 3. This one is a really fun one to do. And I call it triple C's. And I'm going to start right here. I'm going to come up here like this, up. I'm going to curve it, go like that. Take it to the line, to this line, to here. You can just come like this, or you can do a little loop, come back up to that one. I'll come up and do a little loop. You can also do a little clamshell, or you can just go ahead and go straight up, which I'll show you on the next one. So this one, we're going to come here like this. 1, 2, 3, up, like that one. This quilts up really nice, and it looks beautiful in a border. And again, that is in the Borderlines 1, 2, and 3 book. Okay, so I think you're getting a pretty good idea how to fill up your background, your all solid background ideas. I thought maybe I'd show you how to do this paisley design right here. And what I do is I kind of start with like a kind of a balloon shape. So it looks like this. I come up like that, in and out. And I try to get them going in all different directions. And I'm just going to go up on top of my pieced block there. And again, what I should talk to you about is when you're doing this, if you're working with really, really small little pieces of patchwork or applique, then your designs are going to be a little bit smaller. These are pretty good size. And then I'm going to continue this little swirly thing here, all through this, right through there. And then I wanted to show you how to do a grandmother's flower garden, how to stitch in it. And it looks like this one right here. I work with a lot of vintage quilts, but this is a very common pattern right now. And so what I do is I start with like a little swirl right here, up, and then I come out. And I'm going to make like a swag here and here. Then a swag, fill the whole area up, and a swag. And then when that's done, sometimes I'll just sneak out here, and then I'm going to do like a little, like these little leaves through here. Especially if you're working with a grandmother's flower garden quilt top that has all the white or the green in between. So sometimes I'll do this, and it's not really very continuous. And then in the background of the grandmother's flower garden, I'm going to do leaves or I can do continuous curve in those little hexagons. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and load this up, and I'm going to start quilting it. I'll take the camera in there, and if it looks like it's going to show up, I will go ahead and videotape a little bit of this. But there are several, I've done several tutorials for Linda's Electric Quilters, and you can see me stitching on all of those. But this is just a really, really great project and a really good one to practice your free motion quilting. So as you can see, I finished the quilting. I did try to videotape it, but it was so glary you couldn't see anything. You can see lots of my quilting on all the other tutorials that I've done for Linda's Electric Quilters. Now, what I'm going to do, I told you that I put the binding on, and then I put it in my laundry. I finish everything and then throw it in into my wash machine. But in some cases like this, I want to get all the marks off first. So what I do is when I'm stitching on the long arm, I go ahead and stitch around the outside edge, and then I'm going to trim this down pretty close so I don't have all the batting in my machine. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw it in I have a top loading washing machine that I use just for quilts. I also have a front loading machine, and if you only have a front loading machine, this will work as well. All right, but you can't really soak it, but you really don't need to soak it. But I personally like to, just in case the chalk or the markers do not come out. But like I said, I've never had an issue with it before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up my wash machine with warm water, and then I'm going to put Dawn dishwashing soap in there, and then I am going to let it soak for maybe about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to let it run through the cycle, and then I'm going to take it out. I'm going to put it on my floor, or I have a nice big ironing board with a cover, and I'm going to block it. And then once it's dry, I'm going to trim it down and put my binding on. So let's see this. Okay, so you see all this marking on here? So let's see what it looks like after I wash it. So as you can see, I have the little wall sample done, the modern quilting designs and everything. Came out really nice. I blocked it, and if you notice, there's no marks anywhere on it. So let me get some close-ups. So there's that. And like I said, again, this can be done with, they don't have to be vintage blocks. They can be done with orphan blocks. There, get more close-ups. There, back. Do this one. So again, notice all the marks are gone. Here's another one of actually one of my first ones that I did, because I have a lot of these vintage pieces and I'm not sure what to do with it. This one I actually used my channel lock, free motion, and my computerized system on my machine. And so I'm hoping you're going to get some ideas after this tutorial to inspire you to get those unfinished blocks out and do something with them. It could just be a small wall hanging, or it could be a table topper. And here's another one that I did. And this is just out of strips of fabric from leftover quilt blocks that I pieced. And this is all done free motion. And again, most of these designs you're going to find in my background book. Anyways, thank you for letting me share this time with you, and happy quilting.